Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Sherry from Team Unco Studios, and yes, we are back again with another video. We're going to try and pop these videos out as quickly as we can, guys, okay? So this next video that I got coming up is going to be on drums, okay? We're going to just go over the very basics on drums, you guys. Nothing super crazy, all right? So let's jump right into this, all right? So when you're first starting out a project here, I just got an empty project with an open grid here, okay? So if I ever say grid or somebody mentions grid, this is what they're talking about, these little grid thingies and these lines and all this, okay? We're going to kind of go over this for just a minute here, okay? These grids right here represent bars, okay? So when you look at it in a totality, a song is going to be made up by how many bars, right, are in a song, right? You might have heard somebody say this like, damn, that guy's got bars, right? Well, this is what they're talking about, right? The bar is represented by these little numbers up here, okay? Because we are in 4/4 time right now, there's going to be 4 individual beats that make up one bar. Okay, 4 beats make up one bar. Those beats are represented by these white lines right here, okay? Starting at this very first one, all right? So you're going to hear 4 of them before I get to 2 right here. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see them? There's those 4 right there, okay? Those are my down beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what that represents. With inside of that are these other 4 little tiny bars here, okay? Those are going to be our quarter beats, all right? So if you imagine between each white line there's a dollar, it's broken up into quarters here, okay? And for the reasoning for that is because I might not want everything to fall right on the one, right? I might want it to fall on a quarter beat, right? We can go more into that as we start getting into doing drums and making more videos, okay? That's the breakdown of how this works. Right now, I've got this defaulted to 2 bars. You see there's 1 bar here, and then there's another bar here. You can change that. If you watch the other video, shows you where you can change that and all that. We're not going to go into that, okay? So now I've got my metronome set here, and then I've got my BPMs up here, which is my beats per minute. So first things we're going to do is we're going to set a BPM. What are we feeling? What kind of inspiration am I feeling, right? Let's say I want a certain tempo, right? So I'm hearing it in my head. How do I get that tempo to be in my metronome? You're going to use the letter T on your keyboard, and you're going to tap the T to the tempo that you want, okay? So let's do that now. So I hear dum, 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 dum. Okay, so let's say that. If you notice in my BPM window up here, I've got 102 now, not what it was just on, which was 118. I'm going to go ahead and put that on 103. And now I've got 103 here, okay? Now let's listen to that. Okay. You can hear it's really slower than 120, okay? So I like this and I like where it's going. So we're going to stick with that just for argument's sake, okay? So now that I've got my, BPM set, how am I going to start to get drum sets in here? How do I get, sets in here and do all that? Let's go ahead and start working on that now, guys. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to bring up our control console, right? So I got my control console up here. And now let's go ahead and bring up our expansion pack, okay? So in our expansion packs here, these are ones that just came with the MPK Mini. This is the one that I use for the tutorials, okay? We're just going to go to the producer kit here, all right? And we're just going to go to programs, all right? This works on any one of these expansion packs if it's got programs. You can see the Soulful there's got programs. I've got Trap Soul. You got all these, right? For now, we're just going to use the F9s because it's pretty much standard, stuff. So I've got this F9 kit here. Now, in order to rehearse this kit and just kind of listen to it, let you decide what sounds it's got, all you're going to do is click it. Okay, so you notice I got it clicked and you can hear the sound coming out there. Whoops, I pushed the space bar, okay. In order to stop it, you are going to come right here to this little arrow guy right here. Now, you can also just click that arrow guy and it will play. Or you can let it go and it'll stop, okay? But if you're going and you're like, how do I stop this sound from happening? I don't want that sound anymore. Boink, all you got to do is click that little play button. Now, there's a couple of different ways to put programs into your pads, right? Or into your program folder. You can simply just take the F9 kick, okay? And you can just drag it over. And boom, there's my F9, okay? Or you can double click just a pad or a program here, okay? So I'm going to double click, okay? But you noticed it did not go here, right? It did not go into my pads. Where did it go? That's a good question. Where it went is into my program folder, which is here. If you watched the last video, you'll kind of know what this is and what it does. This is my program folder. This is where all my programs are held, for my pads, okay? So if I click this little arrow guy here down, boom, there's my kit right there. And now I can change to it, okay? So why is that? I think the reason why is because sometimes you might just hear a kit and you might not necessarily want it in that grid at that moment, but you might like a percussion or something that comes out of it. So you want it in your folder. So when you get to it, you don't got to go look for it. That's one of the reasons. There's many different reasons why you can have kits into your program folder, okay? So now that I've got my kit here, I want to make sure a couple of things. That number one, that I got sound. Okay, so there we go. I got sound, it looks like, right? I've got everything going. So it seems like we're rocking and rolling. Okay, so I can go ahead and close my expansion pack now that I've got a couple of things going on here. And I can go ahead and start getting ready to lay things down. Now, when you are laying things down inside your MPC Beats grid here, there's a major rule you want to remember. And the rule is this little guy right here. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on that guy. Okay, this is my time correct. What time correct is it's going to snap your MIDI information to the nearest quarter right here. You see these little quarter line, or to my nearest beat line, which is these right here, right? Because these are my bars, these are my beats, and these are my quarter beats, right? So it's going to snap it to the nearest one. It's going to make your timing perfect, right? If you turn time correct off, okay, and you can you do that just by using your K1 Q link, right, on your MPK Mini. If you turn it off, you notice this grid just went dim. You see that? So I'm going to do it again. Watch. Look at that grid. See? Dark, dim, dark, dim. You see that? I'm hoping you guys are able to see that on the channel. What it's doing is it's taking it out of getting it right onto those perfect timings. And the reason why that is because when you're writing a song, some things you might want right on time. You might want them like boom, boom, everything, like your kick, bang, bang, bang. I want it right on time, There are other things that you might not want, some hi-hats, maybe some percussion. The reason why is because it gives it more of a natural feel. It gives it more of a natural feel with what you're doing. So that is the reason why there is a time correct, all right? I would highly recommend you use time correct first before you start jumping into not using it, all right? So let's go ahead and just lay something real simple down here. I'm going to go Shift R to put my overdub into standby, and I'm going to go ahead and hit my space bar here, 4 clicks, and then we're going to go. Here we are. Okay, so if you noticed here, you guys, a couple of things happened. Obviously, my MIDI information came on here, and you notice everything is snapped right to the line there. You see that? Right on the line. Boom. Right there, okay? So when you are not in time correct, it will not do that, right? Let's go ahead and try that. So I'm going to turn my time correct off, okay? And let's go ahead again, Shift R, here are the 4 clicks. Okay, so if you notice now, you see how I've got these spaces here, right? See, it's not right on my one there. It's kind of in the middle of this quarter right here, right? So if I turn my time correct on, you see how it's in the middle of that, okay? Time correct just corrects it and puts it right on the line, okay? That's how it works. That's the difference between those two, okay? So now that I've got these here, right, I can either choose to move them over individually, or I can just redo it again with time correct on. Now, another thing you're going to notice when you are out of time correct, when I go to move this, let's say I want to edit this little MIDI, pattern here. If you notice, this little arrow guy pops up and I can stretch that. You see how it stretches, and I can stretch it into wherever I want. I can go in between a quarter beat there, right? I can go right onto the line if I want to, right? I can put it wherever I want it, right? When you are in time correct, if you notice now, look at that, guys. See that? It snaps to the closest quarter beat. You see that? Okay. So let's say, for instance, this beat right here, I wanted it on this line. If I just get this little guy and snap it, it's going to snap right to that line now, right? Time correct just allows you to be able to do it while you're actually creating the beat, all right? So let's go ahead and go Command Z a bunch of times here. get that stuff off, and let's go ahead and re-put our beat back on there so we've got it real nice and solid. Make sure that we have our time correct on, which it is. Okay, nice and solid. You see everything sounds nice and solid. And I think even this note I might have messed up, or one of these last notes, and you noticed it corrected it for me, okay? So that is how that works, all right? So trekking right along, guys. Now that we've got our time correct, done and set up and everything, there are different banks that belong to these pads that are right here, okay? Now, if you notice on your MPK Mini, you only got these first 8. Right? Well, how do you get to these next 8? In order to get to those next 8, guys, you're just going to hit the little guy right there. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. There's a little guy that says Bank A, Bank B. If you notice, when you hit it, it turns green. Okay, when it turns green, you now have access to these next 8 pads, which are represented by the number and letters A9 through A16. When you're in a regular studio or a big studio, most pad machines come with 16 pads. You could see all 16 of these guys right here, right? The MPK Mini just did that because it's a travelable version, and it just wants to keep everything nice and compact. But it doesn't mean that you cannot play those samples, right? You are still able to play those samples and play those programs, right? So how do I get now to my other B bank up here, right? Because this only plays 16 pads. Even if I had 16 pads, I still wouldn't be able to get to here. How do I get there? The way you get there, guys, is if you notice on your pads, and I'm going to move some of this stuff. If you notice on your pads here, there's this other little bank right at the top here. That's how you get there. So if we go to B, and then I take out of B bank on my MPK Mini and go to A bank, now I am playing B1 to B8. Okay, see that? Right. So now I'm playing those. Again, hit bank B or bank on your MPK Mini, and now I'm playing these top ones. See that? Okay, so that is how that works, guys. That goes all the way. You can have some that are all the way up here into F and everything. You would just go to F and you would say, now I'm in F and I'm going to play these. Same thing, your bank A, bank B. If you have 16 pads, you'll be able to play all 16 of them at your leisure. Okay, so that is how that works, guys. That's the little tutorial on that little guy. Okay, so moving right along now. This MIDI information that we have just put in here does not necessarily need to be being played by this kit. What does that mean? I will show you. MIDI is not music, you guys. This is super important. MIDI is not music. MIDI is information. This little thing right here is a trigger that triggers my A1 pad to make that sound when this comes around in my loop. Okay, so it's just a little marker that says, oh, when this cursor gets there, trigger that kick. Boom, right? Okay, that is how MIDI works. The beauty about MIDI is that I could put any program I want in here to read this information. I will show you what I mean. If I go to my 80s kit F9 grid hits, another kit here, but if you listen, right? Okay, so it's playing that information now here, and this is what it's telling it wants to play. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our expansion here, and let's go to something. Let's go to a deep house here, right? Let's go ahead and go to this. I don't know. We'll go to this one right here. Okay, we'll say this guy. All right. So we double clicked and we brought that in, right? This deep house, right? So there's my deep house kit. Let's put that in. Let's see what this does. Right? You can do this with anything, guys. You can have 20 kits in here and go through until you find the sound that you want, okay? That is how that works, you guys. You can load whatever you want into this program and boom, it's going to play. Now, let's say this is what I want. I found it. This is it. I want this. When you are done with this, it is important to label your track, okay? So let's put drums, right? Okay, so we got drums, right? And now go to your little button here and go to open a new one. And now I've got a new track in here. You can see there is no information now. Where did that track go? If you watched the last video, it's here in track view. You can go back just by highlighting that track, right? and going back to my main mode, and boom, there's my track. But we're going to put some bass now. So now I'm going to go to, to my next track, right? I'm going to go to my, my track 2 here, right? And I'm going to now name that bass. Okay, so now I've got 2 different tracks, and now I can put whatever I want in on this track, right? Let's say I'm going to put some bass synth, right, or some 80s bass here or whatever, right? Now I can put that guy in there here. Boink, there we go. Okay. Let's say I want to put some of that in now, right? Now I can paste that over what I've had on my first track, right? But I've got to be on a different track. And it's going to show me here what I've got in that particular program, right? So let's go back here and let's go ahead and hit Shift R. And okay, that's how it's done. And again, on and on. If you want to put another track, I like that, I want to put some keyboard now, you would go on and put another track and do all of that, right? So that's basically the breakdown of this, you guys. It's really simple. We're not going any further than that. No, I'm not going to make a whole song out of this. We will get into videos like that, but this video is just simple, basic stuff on how to get stuff into your pads here and all of that. I can make more drum videos on how to get different sounds and multiple sounds and samples into your pads and all that. For right now, you guys, this is just drums, okay? So I hope this was helpful, you guys. Please make sure to subscribe. Tell your friends, this is what we're doing, super basic stuff for people that are beginners. We hope this video helped you guys. Peace and love from all of us at Team Unco Studios. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please leave a comment down below and let us know. Thank you guys so much. Peace and love from sunny California, and we'll talk to you guys later.